Now, I know none of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle will admit to being racist, and I don't think they are. But when you look at the rhetoric and you hear the talking points and look at the legislation that's put forward, what are we to say?
The gentleman will suspend. I want to remind the gentleman that you cannot engage in characterizing the other members' positions or calling their position, engaging in personality characterizations.
North Carolina's MAGA monster, Virginia Foxx, can dish it out, but she sure can't take it.
Madam Chair, there was an amendment, you probably recall this, about a month ago. I think it was a month ago. Time has flown by here the last couple of months. To abolish the Department of Education. I think it was to terminate the Department of Education. Did you vote for that amendment?
I'm sorry, I don't remember that amendment.
There was an amendment during a bill that you brought before this committee regarding sports in Title IX. And the amendment to that bill was brought by a gentleman on this committee, Mr. Massey. He's not here to defend the propriety of his amendment, but there are other colleagues of his who are here who co-sponsored that amendment. I believe 164 Republicans voted for it, and I'm wondering if you were among them.
I don't know, but I would, if the Lord put me in charge, I would get the federal government out of education in a heartbeat because it's not delineated.
This seems like an awfully odd way to do that, Ms. Foxx. Madam Chair, with all respect, that's what I'm saying. You did vote. My understanding is you voted for this amendment to terminate the Department of Education. That's consistent with what you just said in terms of, if you had your ability to do that, you'd abolish it. And if that's the case, I'm not sure why you keep bringing bills to this committee to give the Department of Education and the Secretary of Education more powers over local schools in North Carolina and every other state in the country. It is an odd way to remove the federal government from education policy, but that's your prerogative as chair, and I'm not going to get in your way.
And the 10th Amendment said, if it wasn't outlined in the Constitution for the federal government to do, then it's left to the states and the people themselves. And I believe that the biggest fundamental difference between the way you feel and the way we feel is that we believe in the Constitution and we believe in living by it, and that we don't want to.
Then I hope that you will respect the results of the last election.
Mr. Johnson, you helped lead the efforts to overturn the 2020 election results. Will you?
Next question. I see you booing, and I hear the shut up, but that's what you did, Virginia Foxx. Every one of those Republicans, including Mike Johnson and Lauren Boebert, tried to overturn the results of the election. And when she's not screaming about elections or migrants or banging her gavel, she's struggling to do even the most basic version of her job, which would be embarrassing enough if she didn't herself constantly accuse other people of being incompetent.
The taxpayers, when you say the word federal money, you're talking about hardworking American taxpayers. You make it sound like it's manna from heaven. It's not fair to ask hardworking American taxpayers to pay to house illegal aliens, and that's what we're talking about.
So where do you
and by the way, the Biden administration's very quick, and so was the Obama administration, quick to take away money. If you're not following the rules on school meals, then your money can be taken away from you. There's a lot of hypocrisy here, Mr. McGovern, in telling schools what they can and cannot do.
Well, but that's what you're doing here.
I'm sorry?
You are telling local schools, you're saying the federal government is going to tell you what you can and cannot do.
No, we're just saying we're going to withdraw funds if you break the law.
Okay.
That's the point. It's an issue of who's following the law, who's not following the law.
Well, some of these are asylum seekers. I mean, some of these people
then they should go through the process.
Right, but where they are going through the process, and where do they?
No. They apply for asylum in the country where they are, and then they try to come into the United States. They don't come into the United States first and then apply for asylum. No.
Well, that's not what the current law requires. You can apply for asylum if you come to the United. I mean, under current law, you can apply for asylum if you come to if you present yourself at the border. So that is, I mean, no one's breaking the law right now. You may not like the law. You can change the law. I mean, you can build another, you can go ahead and finish the wall that you were supposed to build that never got built. It was going to cost $1 trillion, whatever. But the current law, these people are not breaking the current law.
Yeah, that's embarrassing and kind of uncomfortable to watch, honestly. But the biggest issue with Virginia Foxx isn't that, it's where we started, that she wants to completely destroy the American education system. Which, look, that would be a problem for any representative, but Virginia Foxx is not just any representative. She's the chairwoman on the Committee of Education and the Workforce. And this is gonna blow your mind. Did you know she receives a significant portion of her campaign finances from private education establishments and lobby groups that desperately want her to achieve her end goal of privatizing education?
North Carolina seek recognition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Pursuant to House Resolution 906, I call up Bill H.R. 5.
Lady will suspend. Does the gentlewoman have a general leave request?
It's on page 2. Unanimous consent that all members may have 5.
I ask unanimous consent that all members have 5 days to revise and extend their remarks.
That's what she wants to do, but you'll notice that's not what she often talks about. No, see, Virginia Foxx is just savvy enough to know that you pursue your ideological goals in private. In public, you distract, you scream, you bang gavels, you demonize migrants, you talk endlessly about trans people. You use culture wars to provide cover as you profiteer off the suffering of some of the most vulnerable groups in our society. This is the way that the electeds in the MAGA movement work. And while Virginia Foxx might often come across as a clown or a fool, because she knows how to accomplish her goals. Yeah!